Morning Church. It's Pastor Mike. I hope today is a blessed morning for you. I'm sitting here at home in my office with a somewhat sleepy dog running around, so you might see him in the background. Um, I wanted to ask you what happens in your heart and in your mind when you fail at something, when you fall short of the goals you set for yourself. Unfortunately, we all fail at different things in our lives. We fail to achieve the goals we set, and we can have a range of emotions from them. Sometimes we might have anger or even resentment at others who seem to succeed where we can't. We might feel embarrassment or shame at our own inabilities, insecurity, maybe, thinking that we're not good enough, we can't do the things that we have set for ourselves. it's a it's just a sad truth that we sometimes fail. We sometimes don't achieve the things we want. But listen, even in the midst of our pain or our hurt, our embarrassment, our shame, our anger, listen to the word of God in Psalm 145. We already looked at it earlier this week, but there's so much here. Listen to verse 14. The psalmist says that the Lord upholds all who fall. He lifts up all who are bowed down. He goes on and says, the eyes of all look to you, speaking to God, and you give them their food at the proper time. That is the promise of God for us in our world. It's a reminder that we are always cared for. God is present with us, even in our failures, even in the times where we fall short. Now, we might ask, if God is with us in our failures, why doesn't He stop us from failing? That certainly seems like it would be better than just lifting us up after we've already hit the ground. But I think part of the reason is that God knows that when we fail, we are humbled. Sometimes we humble ourselves, sometimes we are humbled by the world and the things that happen, and we realize that it is God's strength that ultimately will prevail in this world. We can't always achieve things on our own, by our own strength and willpower. Sometimes that's just not enough. But through God's strength, all things are possible. We can achieve all things. We can sustain and endure all things, positive or negative. We are resilient when we have God's strength within us. And I think that's part of the reason that the psalmist points us to that truth. He says, even when we fall, when we are humbled, we have the opportunity to find God's strength within us. And God will lift us up and dust us off and reset our vision as we ask, how can I achieve this thing? Or maybe, should I achieve this goal that I failed at? Is this really part of your plan for me, God? Or is this one just on my wish list? When we turn our hearts to God, when we give our lives over to God, and when we rely on God for strength, there is no limit to what we will achieve when it's in His plan and in His kingdom. So know that you are loved by God today, that God desires your success and your victory in this world. But that happens when we rely on Him, when we give ourselves over to God's strength and stop relying on our own. You will find that you can handle disappointment, you can handle embarrassment, you can handle hurt and pain in this world, and also that you will be able to achieve heights that previously were unknown to us. God bless you today. Know that no matter what's going on in your life, positive or negative, God is present with you and will pick you up in times of trouble.